Okay, hello and welcome to msdynamicsworld.com's Fall CRM webcast series. I'm Jason Gumpert, and today we are lucky to be joined by a great pair of speakers. We have Barry Gibbons, Director of Product Management for CRM at Avanade, and Pravin Kumar, Principal Program Manager for the Microsoft Dynamics CRM team. And they are both here for the session, What Dynamics CRM 2013 will mean for the enterprise customer. Barry is a returning speaker for us. We're really happy to have him back, and we are also pleased to welcome Pravin for his first time joining us. We invite you to add your feedback and ask questions today during Pravin and Barry's session. You can use the Q&A block that you will see on the right of the slides, and we'll also be using the hashtag MSDWCRM on Twitter to keep our own discussion going as things move along. So without further delay, please allow me to welcome Pravin Kumar to start the session off.
Hi, thanks, Jason. Happy to be here. We are really excited about the new upcoming release of Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2013, which is coming out next month. And my goal here in this is to give you a perspective on what's happened in the last 18 months, because it's been a time of transformation for our product and to some extent our organization. I'll also talk about the motivation for our strategy and approach, so you kind of understand, why we did what we did, and of course give you an overview of what we did as well. CRM 2013 is one of the top releases from Microsoft this year. At two of the biggest company events of the year, Kevin Turner, our COO, outlined 3 major releases for the year. One is Windows 8.1, of course. Second is Xbox One. And the third, he said, was CRM 2013. It's a fundamental kingpin for a whole bunch of new technologies and releases that are coming out following on over the next 2 years. And also, just to talk a little bit about why this is critical, is that in the last 18 months, CRM product has undergone fundamental change. We've taken Microsoft CRM from number 9 to number 2 from market perspective. Gartner has been telling us that the number of inquiries about Microsoft Dynamics CRM has shot through the roof. They're amazed at the interest in the product. And fundamentally, it's because we've taken a much more of a market-focused approach in evolving it. So let's go to the next slide. One of the key things is that what's been driving this transformation of the product is the evolving landscape of the working world itself. Number one is there are a whole bunch of new devices that are coming out, including tablets, mobile phones. Mobile phones are getting more and more powerful. And people are using them more and more and more. So fundamentally, workers in the enterprise are using these devices. And to really get the work done, we have to step up and be able to provide new experiences, new applications, and new services that work on these devices and allow people to get the job done on these devices. So because the world in which we've living in is fundamentally changed. So if you think about sales, service, and even marketing, they're adopting mobile and transforming the way that they work. Tablets, like I said, tablets and mobile phones are at the heart of this change. So we, as an organization, are transforming to a device and services strategy. CRM needs to be made for a mobile workforce, and you'll see some of what we've done to accomplish this. One of the things that is kind of obvious if you're in the CRM world is that it's getting harder and harder to reach customers. A lot of this is because of the fragmentation in which, in our media world. And again, this has got a lot to do with devices that people have access to today, and also some of the new consumer services coming up. One of the most interesting statistics that I heard was that Pinterest went from non-existing, they didn't exist as an entity, to providing more referral traffic to e-commerce than Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or any of these social sites combined in a period of 18 months. In other words, they went from nothing to being the largest referrer of e-commerce traffic in 18 months. And you know, how is a CMO, a Chief Marketing Officer, supposed to keep up with those kinds of changes, right? It is really a challenge. And one of the things that we feel that we haven't brought to bear is technology to help solve those kinds of problems. So I feel lucky to be working on some of the most challenging areas of business software today. And you know, kind of understanding and reaching the customer is one of the hardest things to do. And we're super excited at Microsoft to be working on these kinds of challenges and providing solutions. And you'll see today our first few steps in doing that. We still have, you know, we still have a long strategy and roadmap. It's a 5-year plan, but super excited about where we are today. So in this new world, companies need to think harder about how to find, engage, and more importantly, retain customers, because customers can change, you know, switch from services or switch from products in a heartbeat because of the ability they have on their mobile devices and on the web to access multiple services. It's super easy to switch, and this is really critical. And what Microsoft CRM is doing is to bring these kinds of interactions that are needed to find, engage, and retain customers. We're bringing it all together. We've integrated sales, service, and marketing together in a single platform that enables you to get a 360-degree view of the customer. And we'll show you how we're doing that. So an example of this is if you acquire a customer, make a sale to them, have a transaction with them, and then you require service, one of the most interesting things we can do is actually provide you full capabilities, even in the service module, to see how we acquired the customer, what kind of interactions have we had on them, what are they saying on social networks about us. All these kinds of messages we can bring to bear on all of the operations in CRM. We can bring up organizations closer to the customer through engagement and experiences. Before we built this release, we spoke to our customers and partners about their needs. We spent a lot of time just talking to people and trying to understand what are the biggest challenges that they're facing. You know, we heard questions like, hey, you know what, we don't know how to use Facebook as a platform for engagement. We've tried a couple of things. We don't know what works, what doesn't work, and we need to be able to get sharp and clear on that. How do we target and reach the right audience in this day and age of social media? We want to shift away from the notion of activity, CRM being a, you know, kind of center of Salesforce automation and activity, to outcomes. We want to focus on outcomes rather than just activity. And one of the key things is how do we implement a closed-loop marketing process that leverages social? And we've tried to address exactly those questions, and you'll see that in our strategy, we're doing those things. Our marketing and social CRM capabilities that we're going to be introducing in the first release here are there to make sense of these touch points. We can help you reach and measure customers in new and exciting ways, and measure and make sure that the outcomes are appropriate and are meeting your goals and your targets. One of the things that we did was we did this through the power of One Microsoft. I think one of the things that folks kind of forget is that you know, Microsoft is not just, you know, Office and SharePoint and so on. We also have this powerful capability to build enterprise applications. And what we've done is we've actually brought it all together. So in our platform, we've integrated things like Bing Maps. You'll see the ability where we've brought Bing Maps into multiple screens in the application. And we've also brought, and by the way, those Bing Map APIs are available to partners, for example, or ISVs, as they build capabilities on top of our platform. So you can, everything that we have available to build, you will have available to build as well if you're a partner or an ISV. We also brought Yammer. After Yammer was acquired last year, CRM was the first product to actually integrate Yammer into the product. And you'll see that we've done a really nice job of integrating Yammer so that you can, in almost every screen in CRM, you can use Yammer to collaborate with your, number one, your your coworkers inside the enterprise, as well as externally with other partners and other folks who you need to bring in to collaborate with. And of course, SharePoint. We've also integrated SharePoint deeply into the application and Skype and Link as well. And these types of integrations are just going to grow. And the fact that one of the other key things that we've done with Microsoft CRM in the last 18 months is we've transitioned from a 22-month release cycle down to 6 months. So we're going to be releasing every 6 months, which means that there'll be new capabilities rolling out every 6 months. So for example, Skype and Link, we've done the first set of integrations with them, and you'll see that over the next 6 to 9 months, we'll be doing more and more of this. And you'll have deeply integrated capabilities to, for example, to locate presence of people for collaboration, click to dial, a whole bunch of these kinds of things. Most CRM systems today can't do this because they don't have a single platform, a single set of products. We, as one Microsoft focusing on this, we are really excited about these capabilities. So as I said, I gave you some perspective on kind of why we did this, why we started on this. And let me talk a little bit about our strategy of what we're going to do now. We have a 5-year vision, and the beginning of the journey is CRM 2013, the next release. The vision consists of 4 key pillars: reimagining the user experience. I think that many CRM systems, and we were guilty of this too in our previous releases, have focused on entities, the account, the opportunity, the lead, the case, and so on. And it was all about people filling out these forms and kind of making sure that things are complete and these entities are, people are working in and kind of typing in these screens. We have fundamentally reimagined the experience, and it ties into the next pillar. One of the things that we've really focused on is process. We don't believe that entities are really providing outcomes, can provide outcomes for the organization. Entities are more about activity. And so you'll see that in CRM 2013, we really focus on creating the ability to connect together entities and processes. And these processes are highly configurable. They're not, you don't have to program the platform to actually create new processes or modify processes or change and adjust them. You can do this with a point-and-click interface in the application. So we really kind of focus on process and agile process guidance. The second thing that we've done is the user experience is cleaner, faster, and more intuitive. And what we mean by that is that we don't try to, if there are 75 fields in an entity, we don't try to cram them all up on a screen. Most users don't use them. So we did a lot of work. We did a lot of studying on how people use the system, interviewed people, did a lot of usability work, and we have redesigned the screen so only the most important information is available, is presented to the user on the screen. And more importantly, this is not just, we just didn't think about the web screen or the browser. We actually thought about devices as well. We actually worked with, we tested our user interfaces on both tablets, mobile phones, and the web browser with multiple user subjects for 18 months to understand what kind of information were they looking for in different circumstances. So if they're on their mobile phone, if they're working on their mobile phone, what are they looking for? What are they trying to do? And we try to present only that information on the screen, not try to clutter up the screen with forms, with lines and lines and lines and lines of forms that you have to scroll back and forth through. So we've tried to make it very clean. The other thing is we've done a responsive UI, and the concept of a responsive UI is that no matter what size screen you have, no matter what the aspect ratios are, the user experience will automatically adjust, do its best to adjust to those screens. So the user is always looking at the most important information and can execute the most important tasks on the screen, no matter what device they're on. So these are really critical about, what is our imagined user experience, which is also connected to process agility and connected to our devices. We feel very strongly that we need to provide our users with the ability to work on mobile. And by the way, one of the other things you'll see is that we are targeting not just Windows mobile devices and Windows tablets. We will be targeting iOS. CRM 2013 will be available on iOS for iPads, not on the iPhone yet, but that will come out in the first part of 2014. iOS, Android, and Windows Phone are all equal platforms for us because our customers all use these three platforms, and we need to be able to reach our customers and allow them to use the system on whatever device they're on. So you'll see that over time, we will be delivering on all three of these platforms, and over time, I mean by the next 6 months. The other thing that I want to talk about is social and context. We have integrated social CRM throughout sales, marketing, and service. And you'll see that many social products today are separate and standalone. They're kind of like specially set up for quote-unquote social marketers. We realize that this is nonsense, that as we talk to clients, as we talk to our users, we realize that everybody needs to be able to take advantage of social. And this is the approach that we've taken in CRM 2013 and the future. So what that means is, no matter what you're doing, whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing, we have brought social in context to you during your work, during your operation. So what does this mean? What this means is that if you are looking at an opportunity, or if you're looking at a lead, on the right side of CRM 2013, there's going to be a pane, a social CRM pane, that is going to explain, that's going to show you the summary, the social sentiment analytics of that lead or of that opportunity. We will show you, kind of what is the sentiment. Is it positive? Is it negative? What are the latest kind of documents that are being generated in social media about this particular opportunity? And then actually allow you, if that summary is not enough and you want to drill down, you can click on that summary and drill down deeper and get a deeper understanding of the social analytics, whether it's by channel, by language, and so on. So we've spent a lot of time actually going through this and talking to our customers. And we realize our customers are saying they cannot maximize returns unless they have a unified experience with social. And this is a clear differentiator for us, and you'll see a lot of exciting products and capabilities coming out over the next 6 months around social, deeply integrated into the rest of CS. So I've kind of given you a perspective on our transformation, why we started down this path, and what we're doing. Also giving you a motivation for our strategy and approach, and an overview of our strategy. And with this, I'm going to hand it over to Barry.
Thanks, Pravin. And I can see that I'm presented. It looks like I'm getting great. Thanks, Pravin. Looks like I've got audio that's live. So hello, everybody. My name is Barry Gibbons. I am with Avanade. Avanade, for those of you who don't know, is a global systems integrator, and we are actually the largest Microsoft partner in the world. And we implement not just CRM technologies, but infrastructure, communications technologies, all based on the Microsoft products and the Microsoft .NET framework. So we implement on the CRM side about 10% of all CRM licenses out there. So we have a lot of experience in developing on CRM, implementing CRM, particularly in the enterprise space. And but like any systems integrator, I think we see a new release coming out, and we're always excited about it. But there's always a little anxiety there too, because we always have to try to figure out, well, now that these new capabilities exist, how are we as technology providers and technology consultants going to help our customers take advantage of them? Is there still a role for us? And it's kind of a silly question because there's always more that we can do. But there's still this sense of anxiety about it nonetheless. And it got me thinking about some this process of evaluating CRM 2013 and what we were going to do for our enterprise customers around the product, it got me thinking about some survey results that we'd had from late last year. We had gone out to about 600 of our customers and surveyed them, VP level and C-level executives, around 600 of our customers, and asked them how they were using technology in their organization. And it was interesting. I think some of these results that we got were not terribly surprising. Things like about 60% of the organizations were using personal devices in the business. And I think probably for the folks on the call here, I've seen some of the organizations that we're all with. I think probably 100% of us on the call today probably use a personal device for some kind of work activity, whether it's a phone or a home PC or maybe some kind of a tablet or slate device that we bring to work with us. But one of the things this does, one of the expectations that this creates, is it's really a higher expectation for folks who use a consumer technology. They expect a better user interface. They expect increased collaboration capabilities, and they expect those things to be easy to do because so many of those expectations are being driven by these rapidly changing fast to appear consumer experiences. Pravin mentioned Pinterest and how quickly a tool like that was adopted and how easy it is to use. The Pinterest experience is something that people now expect within a business application, and so delivering on those experiences then becomes challenging for anybody who's building technology. One of the other things that we've seen, and again, a lot of folks on this call probably aren't surprised, but that about 42% of project teams are distributed around the world, so geographically distributed, so they're not all working in one place. And that's certainly the case with Avanade, where we have offices in Bratislava, we have offices in Mumbai and Bangalore, India, and offices in the Philippines where we have development centers that we leverage. And I'm working out of Seattle and work with those offices on a daily basis. So I'm on the phone and in link meetings in the middle of the night sometimes, and for my colleagues around the globe, they're often working in odd hours as well because of this global connectivity that we have and the common set of problems that we're all trying to solve. But it really does create a different set of expectations for how we're working and where we're working, often in the home, sometimes in the office, and often in coffee shops as well. Certainly, what we're seeing is that organizations and the organizations that we were surveying are really having tremendous success with the technology investments that they were having. Organizations that were really pushing the envelope of technology change, we're seeing greater increased sales, and those that were being more conservative in general, we're seeing a lower level of sales growth in their organizations. So it was great to see that people were really feeling like they were getting a great ROI on their investments. And finally, just as a kind of a way to think about this nature of work changing and how we're consuming information technology, one of the interesting things that we found is that when we talked to C-level executives, they really wanted to focus on the benefits that they were getting out of their technology investments, whereas a lot of the IT decision makers, folks in the IT shops, were really focused not on that same thing. They weren't really focused on trying to get benefits out of IT, but really on minimizing risk and cost in their organization. So there's a real disconnect with how to adopt these new technologies, with one part of the organization really looking at benefits and the other part looking at risk and cost. It's not an invalid thing for them to do, but certainly creates this divide in the organization, and I think really points to why so many business organizations are looking to cloud-based solutions and self-service-based solutions to solve a lot of their needs. Now, the relevance here to CRM 2013 is that we see this constant change in work, and I think the CRM 2013 product really captures a lot of the changes that we're seeing within the work environment, enabling mobile, enabling better social capabilities, providing a great user interface. It really fits more of the way people expect to work based on their experience with web applications and mobile applications. So I think the product itself we're tremendously excited about because it really does help us deliver on customer expectations and these increased expectations that consumers have. But I think one of the challenges that we have as we looked across each one of these areas that Pravin mentioned, we look at process, at mobility, and at social. Each one of those areas have particular challenges for the enterprise, and so that's what I wanted to talk about today, and taking a look at enterprise organizations and how they end up really being challenged, I think, still, even with a new product, to realize the benefits of them. You think about process, and I've always believed that CRM is at core a process management tool and a process enforcement and a process helper tool. When we go to the enterprise, though, we see process agility being important, certainly, but also being challenging. Processes in the enterprise tend to be more rigidly defined. There are more people, and the way that those people have to work together has to be defined very tightly. There tends to need to be process enforcement. In a lot of cases, as you go into a larger organization, there may be regulatory requirements that they need to meet. So that process enforcement and visibility into the process compliance ends up being very important. I was thinking about one of our customers the other day. It's a large transportation company. They manage they charter transportation ships that go all around the globe and typically do large container transportation. And their process is very interesting. They have the way that they built their process is very interesting. When they sat down to reimagine how they were going to manage their business, they actually sat down for 2 years to design their process for how they were going to manage what they call charters, or basically chartering transportation ships for containers. It took them 2 years to design this process, which is a lot more than you might have, like say a business analyst, a lot more time than a business analyst would spend typically defining or documenting a process within a small organization. Their process is complicated because it touched on a lot of people, a lot of locations, and a lot of systems. So this is another one of these common things that we see in the enterprise, where process is not just limited to one business domain or one solution like the CRM solution itself, but often touches on ERP, often touches on operational systems, and may need to go out to third-party solutions, just like this transportation company that I mentioned. So for them to build out this solution was actually quite complicated, something that we actually built for them on top of Microsoft Dynamics CRM, but it was integrated into AX, Dynamics AX, as well as many other tools. So it's a pretty complex implementation. So for process, one of those things that's so challenging a lot of times in the enterprise, because there are so many different people involved in a process, they often don't know where they're at. They often don't know what part of the process they're working on and what impact they have on other people. And so being able to provide this guided interactions for an end user to let them know where they're at in the process and how they're impacting other people is critically important. And we're excited about this new CRM UI. It's really exposing process out to end users in a way that they haven't really been able to see before. A lot of times process in the CRM product in the past has been limited to workflow. Great tool, but not something that a lot of end users really get their heads around in order to be able to, again, see where they're at and see how their work is affecting other people. One of the areas where we're taking that notion of process and surfacing it to people in an enterprise context is actually in our contact center solution. And so this is an example, and I'll show you some of the work that we're doing around our contact center solution. Just a note that what you're seeing on the screen here is a view into Avanade's contact center solution. It's a unified desktop application actually built on top of Microsoft's UII, or User Interface Integration API set, that's actually included in the CRM 2013 SDK now. So it's always been something that's been available from Microsoft, hasn't been in the unified SDK, but it's in there now. And we've actually built out this unified desktop solution on top of that, and it leverages CRM, but also other applications. One of the things that you see here is a process viewer, and for those of you who've seen CRM 2013, you've probably seen that similar process viewer. I'll highlight it here for you. If I can get the pen working, I'll highlight it here. And the process viewer here is actually something that is similar to what you see in the CRM 2013 product, but in this case for contact center workers and large enterprise companies, they tend to, as I mentioned before, have these processes that run across multiple applications. So in this case, we're in the middle of a process here where the end user is actually looking up information in a knowledge base and looking up information in a social collab solution so that they can solve a customer problem. And as part of that, they may end up sharing the case experience. They end up may end up sharing the knowledge base article back with the community or with their customer. And the tools here actually help orchestrate their process flow across multiple applications. So this ends up being, again, critical for large companies, and we typically implement a solution like this in, say, a telecommunications company where the agent may end up having to use 7, 10 different applications in the course of helping a customer out. They may go from an OSS system to the CRM system to a scheduling system to schedule some field service. And so being able to orchestrate that process across multiple applications to help customers quickly ends up being really important. And so we're actually taking that notion of process and that process definition and expanding it across multiple enterprise applications. This is just one example, and again, really excited about the fact that we've now got this great conversation that Microsoft can help us drive around the importance of process, and it really aids us in having those conversations with our enterprise customers around the importance of process and defining process and capturing it within the software. No, mobility is one of these areas. Gosh, in our CRM practice, we've had terrific success over the last several years with mobility. This is something that I think has been driven from above within organizations who want to take advantage of mobility, as well as from below, from employees who increasingly have smart devices and want to take advantage of them and are using them for business, whether it's just for making phone calls or for helping them get from point A to point B during the day using a map to try to get to a customer location. So customers have always been using these mobile devices and been using mobile solutions in their business and for CRM purposes for a long time. Of course, CRM mobile CRM solutions were some of the first mobile applications made available. But in the enterprise space, one of the things that we've seen is that enterprises are really looking for something that's a differentiated experience for their end users. Certainly for their customers, if they're providing a mobile app for their customer, like a bank, for example, may provide a mobile banking application. We've been building some things like that. But just for their end users, they're also looking for a differentiated experience. And part of that is not just an ephemeral thing where they want something that looks good or looks specific to their company. But one of the things that we see in the enterprise space, of course, is that you have this increased specialization of employees and people who are working on a very narrow problem set, but they go very deep in that. And so that increased specialization, what we see is really requires these tailored experiences to be built out, or thinking back to process-based experiences on the mobile device. And one of the things that we can do with this is that we can enable much greater efficiency for employees. And we've done this with several customers over the last 2 years. We've built out very customized solutions for them. I'll give you one look at one of the solutions that we've built out. This is for an automotive manufacturer. This is a dealer solution that we built for them. It was tablet-based. We spent some time doing some evaluation of how their dealer operations worked and how people within their dealerships manage sales, and looked at the kind of information they needed. And this is a pretty specific type of retail experience that this manufacturer is providing, and a pretty specific, highly loyal customer base. So that the dealers themselves really wanted to get a lot more insight into who their customers were as they walked into the dealer, as they maybe went from one dealer to the next to look for goods and parts. They really wanted to get a much better sense of who that person was. And traditional CRM mobile solutions just didn't meet the need there. Pravin talked earlier about the entity-based view, and a lot of the CRM systems, certainly the Dynamics CRM system has been somewhat guilty of this in the past, and it's not unique to the Dynamics solution either. We see this with a lot of other competing solutions where their web applications, their mobile applications are very entity specific. If you want to look at information about a customer, you've got to go to that customer list, find that customer within a list, and then drill down to the form about that customer. But in this case, for this auto dealer, they really needed to see a lot of information. They needed to see information about that customer from the CRM system. They needed to see past sales, that customer drawing out of the ERP system, as well as inventory information out of their inventory control systems. And so we built this front end. It's just largely CRM data, showing appointments, as you can see in the first screen here, to help help dealers stay on top of their appointments that they have during the day, and also showing their activities. But as you can see, as you go through the screens there, deeper and deeper information across the enterprise information store, not only about this customer and their purchase history and their desires and the types of things that they like to buy, but again, historical purchase patterns, and even drill into inventory, so that the dealer, if they don't have something in stock for this customer, knows where to go to find it and knows where to order it from. So, these kinds of mobile experiences do end up being, again, highly tailorable for enterprise companies, and it's an area where, we've, in many cases, been able to lead our enterprise CRM sales. So for those of you who are SIs and those of you who are out selling CRM in the enterprise space, I think the mobile CRM capabilities that Microsoft is providing around CRM are great for a stage 0 conversation, but I'd really encourage you to go deep in terms of what their customers are looking for in a mobile experience. And I think what you'll find is this specialty and specialization in their mobile workforce, where they really do need something that's much more process specific and much more tailored to what those customers and what those end users are doing with the solution. This solution, by the way, we built on top of a third-party mobile platform. There are a few of them out there, CWR, Resco, for example. This we actually built using Resco, which is an ISV solution, but we built the application UI itself all in HTML5, so fairly rapid build time on the solution. The Microsoft, I think, surprised a lot of people with the Yammer acquisition last year, and it's been great to see. It's actually been the Yammer's actually been integrated into the CRM Online product for a while now. I'm sure most of you on the call have taken a look at it, played with it, maybe even are using Yammer within your organizations already. It's tremendously easy to set up. One of the great things about Yammer is that it really does allow for this flexible, agile way to deploy social enterprise collaboration within an environment. We've got customers. We'll go in to talk to customers about social collaboration and find out that they've already got a whole lot of Yammer subscriptions, free and paid, around the organization. And in some ways that's a great thing. In some ways that's been a terrifying thing for some of our organizations. I noted that slash operating costs. This is really a challenge as these organizations stand up multiple social collaboration solutions. They often aren't getting a cost-effective method of deploying social collaboration. And they also get, I think, a lot of times when organizations, these enterprise organizations, take a bottoms-up or a department-level approach to social collaboration, they often don't get the cultural change that they're looking for. They don't get the deep information sharing they're looking for. The solutions do end up being much more focused on solving a particular problem within a given department or a given collaboration between maybe one group of workers and some external vendors or customers, rather than really transforming the culture of the organization to allow for greater transparency and greater collaboration across the entire enterprise. And when you talk to executives about the social collaboration, they really do want to transform their level of knowledge sharing. They do want to enable workers from throughout the organization to share information with each other. They want to be able to have workers find the information that they need, whether it's just take one example that pops up again and again with a lot of our customers is customer evidence. A sales organization or a marketing organization wants to be able to find out where they have a customer within a given industry or where they've done business before. Sometimes it's not always easy to find that kind of information in a large enterprise, because you have different selling organizations, different marketing organizations building that evidence, that customer evidence. When that evidence is then stuck away in silos within the organization, it's very difficult to find. It's very difficult to find out who you can collaborate on around that information. But with more of a uniform approach to social collaboration, that problem gets solved. I wanted to highlight what we're doing in the social collaboration space, because I think it's often the case that we think it's easy. You go and you've got a SharePoint site or you've got your Yammer site that you can get stood up very quickly, and now you're collaborating socially within the organization. And I think for a lot of us in in the technology space take these things for granted and don't think much about the real challenges that some organizations have in implementing and getting great success out of their social initiatives. When Avanade goes in to an organization and talks to their executives about social collaboration, or talks to their IT department about social collaboration, usually it starts out as one group or the other that we're talking to. They're often not talking about their social collab needs together. One of the things that we do, and the first things that we do, is sit down and lay out a plan for evaluating the organization's ability to take on social initiatives. And this is a graphic of an actual process that we have for engaging with people, engaging with the business, and engaging with IT. And we actually have a fairly sophisticated scoring that we do around each of these, and as part of a deliverable back to IT and back to the business, we provide them with an assessment of where we think that they need to make some changes and how we can help them make some changes to ensure success in their social initiatives and their social collaboration solutions. So we'll look at things at the people level, like how open are people to sharing information. Surprising, some organizations are highly resistant to sharing information, either because of fear or because maybe different parts of the organization actually compete with each other. So there is a cultural assessment that happens there. We look to inside the organizations to see who the ambassadors are, who the mavens are for social media, who are the people who can actually help management get what they want out of the social collaboration, and how they can run campaigns within their user communities. It's not something that typically is done with CRM. CRM gets implemented, some folks get training, and they have to use the solution or they don't get paid. And so for CRM, it's a very different adoption cycle than social collaboration solutions. So these things, so adoption really needs to be something that that's thought much more deeply about with social collaboration solutions. On the business side, we, a lot of times we're looking specifically for a good governance model in a lot of the organizations that we work with. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of them are in one way or another regulated, or have with some regulatory requirements around the work that they do, whether it's around their process or around the documents that they produce. And so it's important for us to understand what those business requirements are, but also to understand who the executives are in the organization that are going to drive these social initiatives. Oftentimes, when we see a technology and IT shop that's driving social initiatives, which is very common, less so with CRM initiatives, of course, but more common with social collaboration, since it's thought of as infrastructure solutions. A lot of times what we're looking for within the business is, as a business executive, to really sponsor that initiative at a high level within the organization, to use the tools themselves and to encourage other people to use the tools. It's something that we've done inside of Avanade over the last several years, as we've increased the amount of social collaboration tools that we're using. Our CEO, Adam Morby, is a regular user of our social collaboration tools and frequently engages with employees through our SharePoint-based social collaboration tools. And of course, on the technology side, no surprise here. There's sort of typical design and solution integration evaluation that we need to do. But really a deep amount of engineering that needs to happen with the people and with the business to make sure that that social initiatives are going to be successful within an organization. It's not just enough within the enterprise to put up the Yammer site, integrate it with CRM, and see success with that initiative. I'll give you one example with a customer that we have. It's a large multinational skincare products company. They're based out of Germany, but they have about 15,000 employees worldwide. A lot of employees in North America, in fact, where they sell a lot of their products. They had different pockets within the organization were excited about and were using social media. They weren't getting a lot of support from their IT department because the IT department was kind of going back thinking about that, how work is changing, and about how those VPs and directors within the IT organization were worried about mitigating risk. Well, they were mitigating risk by not providing these social collaboration tools, and the result, of course, was the business is going out and getting them on their own, a lot of times using things like Yammer ineffectively within departments to collaborate with each other because, of course, people are working in different parts of the world. Marketing person in North America is working with a product development person in Germany. They need to collaborate together, and they were using things like Yammer to do that. So, really important for the organization to then get a handle on this, and also to make sure that people within the company were able to effectively and consistently get work done. One of the things that so many people saw as we were working with this customer was that different parts of the organization had different capabilities because they either had different versions of Yammer or were using other social media tools, social media collaboration tools to get work done. And so there's a really inconsistency in the work that they were doing and then what they were able to accomplish with the tools. So we went through the evaluation that I noted before, and found that there was really a broad need for communication. People wanted personal sites so that they could easily share data. They wanted departmental sites, project sites, and everything for us really pointed to the use of SharePoint, along with partner NewsGator, which is a SharePoint-based social collaboration tool. So we ended up using and implementing for this company again, SharePoint 2013, along with NewsGator, so that they could more effectively collaborate around documents and build out communities. So we've got about 5,000 of their users on the solution right now, and we'll do a rollout as we get towards the end of the year. We'll roll out to another 10,000 employees within the company. So, terrifically successful social collaboration experiment inside this company, but really needed to start with a deep evaluation of how the company was doing its social collab, making sure that executives as well as IT were on board with the solution, and making sure that there was a consistent set of experiences that employees could have. And we see the same thing with CRM 2013. In some cases, we'll use Yammer for our customers. In other cases, we'll actually use more of a SharePoint-based solution for our customers for social collaboration in cases where they may have some regulatory requirements or some data sovereignty or data governance needs that they have. And again, that's all something that needs to be evaluated on a customer-by-customer basis to make sure that that they're not running afoul of regulatory requirements, and that the social collaboration that's being used with CRM is a great fit with the rest of the company, and can take advantage of other investments that the company may have around things like search across documents and search across community sites. So just a few last words from me. 2013, it's a pretty major upgrade. Microsoft, of course, has tools that will help you upgrade the solution, that are going to help you assess your existing environment if you're doing an upgrade. But certainly the organization needs to be prepared, and we need to understand the capabilities within the product and how the organization can take full advantage of them. I think that things like mobility, just from an infrastructure perspective, it's important to understand whether or not the organization is going to be able to support mobile workers with CRM 2013, and what is the model for mobile employees getting that solution. Are they going to be able to connect when they're outside the firewall? Is the increased traffic on the servers going to be handled? So there's a lot of these details that really have to be thought out with the 2013 adoption. The mobility item is just one. Certainly social collaboration is another. All these areas really need to be thought out in detail prior to the implementation, or certainly I think a plan that needs to be put in place for how the organization can better adapt to and adopt the CRM 2013 capabilities. And the only time I'll make our services available is right now. Avanade's certainly getting terrific experience across our user base right now, our customer and consultant base with the 2013 product. And so we're certainly available to help prepare your organizations, help you assess upgrade and really provide those post-upgrade services in a planned, phased approach to taking advantage of the new capabilities within the product. And with that, I'll hand back over to Pravin. I think he's going to give us a little bit of information about the roadmap.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. That was awesome. Really cool capabilities of Avanade and some of the really interesting things that you guys have done. And definitely looking forward to some of the new projects that you guys are going to do with the CRM 2013. So one of the last things we wanted to close with was the CRM roadmap plan. I kind of alluded to this earlier. We are fundamentally changing from a kind of a 2-year release cycle down to 6 months. This started with Polaris earlier this year, and is now Orion, which is CRM 2013, in October of this year. And then we will have another release in Q2 of next year called Leo, and you can see these. And followed by 6 months later with another release called Vega. So you're basically going to see a release every 6 months. We'll do updated product roll-ups delivered every 12 weeks. The on-premise releases will lag the online releases by about 6 months, and we'll do a yearly release cadence of the on-premise release. So we'll roll everything up, and on-premise will be delayed by, not delayed, but will be behind by 6 months. And the main reason is that it will allow us to focus on online, make sure that things work out, stabilize those releases before we release an on-premise version of it. However, there are also going to be more releases coming up between these, and this is particularly in the marketing area. In Q1, we have a release called Mira, which will include our marketing capabilities, which is Marketing Pilot, which was another acquisition that we made. As you can kind of see, we've been very, very busy. So we are going to be launching Marketing Pilot in Q1. This is already, we have some early access and some beta kind of programs available for Marketing Pilot, and we'll be kind of rolling out, like I said, the next release in Q1, followed in Q3 by another marketing update with even deeper integration. So as you can see, we're basically taking marketing very, very seriously, both from a social perspective as well as a traditional, MRM, marketing resource management, and MCM, which is marketing channel management, and also IMM, integrated marketing management. So we're taking all of these very, very seriously. We've already shot up to the Gartner Leader Quadrant in marketing just with the work we've done in the last 6 months. So we will be, it'll be a very significant focus for us as we move forward to deeply integrate marketing into sales and into service as well. So, the long and short of it is you can expect a lot of changes coming down the pike over the next 6 months, and we will be working very hard to deliver a market-leading platform. That's about it from my side.
Okay, with that, should we start closing out the sort of formal part of the presentation?
I think we can, Jason.
Take some questions?
Yeah, I think we can.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you would like to have me sort of moderate the questions, I'm happy to. Or if you see some that have come in already that you want to maybe jump on, we could start that way.
So I have answered one on social analytics. There are a couple on mobility, which, to be honest, are beyond me. So I don't know if you can answer those, Barry, or not. But
let's see. It looks like Arvind had a question here about authentication.
Something about authentication. Yeah.
Just reading Arvind's question there. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer Arvind's question, so I'm gonna pass on that one. I'm not quite clear on what the challenge is there. It looks like there's just some typically authentication. One of the big challenges with all mobile apps and in an enterprise space is that authentication is often a challenge because you're going through firewalls and this type of thing. I think that those are kind of best left to the specifics of the environment that they're in. Harjit has a question here. it looks like about how the APIs are working, and I'd have to go take a look at some of the new API sets. I know there were some bulk update operations that were deprecated or maybe eliminated altogether in CRM 2013, and so I think that there are some questions still about how that works, and I've got some of those questions myself, Arjit, as some of the solutions that I've built at Avanade here take advantage of some of those APIs. I think Yifeng had a question around SharePoint integration and increased SharePoint integration, and Pravin, I'm not sure if you can answer that at all. Is there more SharePoint integration in this release, or has the focus really been on integrating with Yammer?
No, it's been more on integrating with Yammer and kind of getting that more deeply, not just integrated, but actually kind of incorporated into the various flows in the screen. So there's not a lot on more on SharePoint, though that will be coming up in future releases. That's definitely a point of focus for us.
And then Harjit had a question about trial, 30-day trial for the solution. Harjit, I presume he's thinking about the CRM Online experience and whether or not there'll be a 30-day trial of that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't have the answer today, but I can find out. I think that most likely there will be, but I want to make sure that and confirm that before I give you a final answer.
Yeah, I know that the 30-day trial has been something that's been a critical sales tool for SIs, for resellers, and for Microsoft. It's an important part of the sales process. So I think we'd all be surprised if there was not a 30-day trial available there, right. so that the solution can get brought up and demoed really quickly in a stage 0 kind of sales environment.
Yeah, like I said, it's very likely, but I personally haven't heard the plans yet, so I don't want to. So I'm going to comment on those
for
yet.
Sure.
And then and then there's one more question from Jara about will the marketing updates be included in the Vega on-prem release? The marketing capabilities will never be on-prem. They will always be in the cloud only. And the reason for that is that the way the marketing function works, you usually have to have cross-company workflows. So you're usually working with an agency who's executing on a campaign. You could be working with multiple agencies, who are executing a campaign, and of course you as a marketer will be working on it as well. And to be able to execute these properly and appropriately, we can't have it on premise. It actually doesn't quite work. So in that case, the agencies will require multiple, logins into different systems. So the marketing capability will always be in the cloud.
Yeah, it occurs to me that that's another one of these interesting examples of this capability that we have really driving ability within an organization. It's always been the case that organizations needed to work across organizational boundaries for their marketing. It was always challenging, though. You're shipping files back and forth, sometimes literally putting disks in an overnight mailer or a courier to get them to a fulfillment house or back to the company, and that's not necessary anymore. So it's really increasing the velocity with which marketing organizations can work.
Yeah, and absolutely. And to follow that, Barry, the asset management, digital asset management capability in our marketing solution is already been rated as one of the top in the industry. So this is, the asset management, the ability to change assets and build workflows around those and so on is very powerful, as you just mentioned. So.
Yeah. Bob, I have some comments here too about integration with social during the demo phase, and I echo that. I think that that's something that's going to be important. It's an important part of the overall solution. Bob has a question here, a good open-ended question. What do we envision the biggest challenge with CRM 2013 will be for enterprise clients? And I'm not sure that there's a particular new challenge here for enterprise clients. I think that the kinds of challenges that we see with CRM 2013 are the same ones that organizations have always experienced. I think perhaps the difference now is that the enterprise organizations can look at what is provided with CRM 2013, the mobile capabilities, the process definition capabilities, and B, maybe a little frustrated that they can't take full advantage of it. And I'll go back to the process definition just as an example. When I go to an enterprise company, say a telco, for example, CRM is very important to them, but it's one of many systems. And so, I always kind of get stuck with my CRM hat on, thinking that CRM is the most important application in these organizations, and it's just, again, one of many. And so process for a lot of enterprise organizations is not something that just happens inside of CRM. It happens across multiple solutions. So, I think that the challenge for them, just in that one point, will be taking advantage of these capabilities and of, say, process orchestration across multiple applications. And that's something that a smaller organization, a more nimble organization, I think, can build their entire business within CRM, manage their business within CRM using the mobile tools, the process definition tools, the social collab tools, and maybe even be more successful than an enterprise company can be right out of the box, in the first month of adoption. Does that make sense?
Why don't I take the one question by Ranjit? Will NetBreeze features be available in Vega? Yes, absolutely. Actually, they will be available in Leo, the release before Vega, which is in Q2. And so we will be making that available. And also, some capabilities of NetBreeze will be available even earlier in earlier access programs.
Ranjit had a question about vertical solution upgrades. There were some workflows and some other vertical solutions that Microsoft provided for CRM 2011. Are there any plans to provide updates to those, or will those just continue to import into CRM in 2013? That is.
I think there will be some upgrades to that in CRM 2013, but I'm not exactly sure of the full details of it yet. But I know there's been some work done on it.
It's hard to ask a question here about, in essence, about editable grid. I think is kind of the essence of the question. Is there sort of an editable grid control inside of 2013? And I believe there is in some parts of the product. There's an editable grid for some certain scenarios.
Yeah, there is. And then I think the question goes on to ask whether it is using Silverlight. It's not. It's actually using HTML5. And then there's another question from Jane about, will CRM have an app instead of Safari on the iPad? And yes, that's right. There will be an app. But however, most of the app will be powered by HTML5. We've actually built a whole new mobile framework called Mocha. And Mocha is actually the framework that allows us to write multiple applications for multiple platforms, mobile platforms. So yes, we have these shims on each of the mobile platforms that allows us to create apps. And by the way, Mocha will be available to both ISVs and to other partners to build on top of. So you'll be able to build your own apps and your own capabilities on top of Mocha.
And Pravin, if I could jump in here, this gets back to maybe an earlier question that was kind of handled with a text answer, but in terms of talking about mobility solutions, are we talking about Microsoft releases primarily, or looking at things built out by ISVs and VARs? I think, could you maybe give a little more of your view on where things are now and how you see the sort of the mobile solution range of offerings evolving in the next year or two?
Sure. So right now, I mean, like I said, the Mocha, the platform, is going to be part of CRM 2013, is going to be released, and of course, the only applications built on top of it will be Microsoft applications because we haven't really put it out in the public yet. But over time, we envision others building on top of it. Absolutely, no question. Especially by the Leo timeframe, it should be fully featured and fully capable for everyone to be building on top of Mocha.
All right, excellent. I think we have pretty much, you guys have pushed through basically all the questions that have come in here, unless unless you see any others that you haven't hit yet that I'm missing.
Yeah, I don't see any either. I'm just scrolling through it. So.
All right, great. Well, we are a little past the top of the hour, so why don't we wrap up here? For anyone who wants to get access to a recording of this, we'll be making that available soon, as well as the slides. So Barry and Pravin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure, and thanks to everyone in the audience for attending, and have a great day.
All right.